Hello everyone, let's welcome again you in application of soft computing. Before going into dive into the depth, let's look ahead at different basic key terminologies based on the soft computing. So in this video, we are going with the what is data, types of data. In that, we will go about the basics of supervised learning, unsupervised learning, classification and regression, clustering and association. So, as I mentioned in the content, we are just showing the basic key terminologies that we just go through about what is data, what is supervised learning. We just basic know the introduction, how it will work, and how the concept is related with the soft computing. We're just going with the basic key terminologies. So let's have start with the basic one, that is data. Data can be anything. It can be considered as a structured unstructured. If it is maintained in your row column, that could be considered as structured. Rest of them, videos, images, and any other collection of the data is considered as unstructured data. So again, data can be classified as a qualitative as well as quantitative. In qualitative, we are not able to count and measure easily using a basic numbers. So these can be a two types. Number one is nominal, another one is ordinal. Before going then explaining this, I'm let you know why I'm telling about you data. Because whenever we are working on a soft computing, there is either a past collection of the data, or there we have a records, we have a patterns, we have many things related to the data. We have to identify the different tasks, we have to define the patterns, we identify the key things among that raw data. That's a huge win. Among them, we need to identify the main points, and it's like a different patterns we need to identify. For that, we know that what is the type of data I am working on it. Before knowing like if I know I don't have a knowledge about the data, that what the type of data I'm using, what is a qualitative or quantitative, the approaches algorithm can vary according to the data. That's why I'm just giving you basic introduction, basic things, what can be the different basic things required in a soft computing when we are working on some sort of application. So let's again, qualitative data that cannot be counted easily using number. It can be a nominal or ordinal. In nominal, there is a set of value that don't process a natural ordering. For example, if I'm talking about the color, so I cannot compare the one color with the another compare. The red is greater, blue is greater. We can do that in a terms of good, best, better as our likeness. But we can't compare in terms of the greater than or less than. So it's like red is greater than blue. It's not possible to state that. It's not considered. So colors we can't compare. And in ordinal, it's a type of values have a natural ordering. We have to maintain the class value. For example, if I'm talking about the size of shirt, it can be small, medium, large. They are in an ordinal way, they are already manageable. Next, we have a quantitative data. These type of we try to quantify the things and doesn't consider numerical values that make countable in nature. It can be discrete or it can be continuous. The whole numerical values or integers can be considered as a discrete, where the fractional number or the continuum values are considered as continuous. Now, after the data, we have a two types of learning. Number one, supervised learning, and otherwise is unsupervised learning. So what is a supervised learning? Now, it, it is called as a label trait, labeled. Why we are calling as a label? Because we already have a set of data with us. We know the output. Sometimes we know the output. According to them, we classify our data in the different categories. For example, if I'm taking few data and I want to know whether this particular picture is belong to the cat or not. So I just get it classified into the two classes. Number one, it is cat or it is not. So I just label that particular thing. In this, I giving the training to my data set that you have to work on that training, and the what are the on the basis of the training, I will provide the tested data. So on the basis of the tested, they have to clear to identify the accuracy of my application. I have to do the training and testing. So what we are doing in a supervised learning, we have a lot of the ample of the data. We just classify whether this is belong to this class or another class. If it is belonging to some class, we mention them or we know them as a labeling. Next is unlabeled, unsupervised learning. That is unlabeled data. In previous, we don't have any class. We don't have any classification. We don't have a different labeling things. We need to discover the patterns based on the inputs, based on the current features and the behaviors of that particular application or the data set. We need to discover that. This is called the unlabeled data. Again, the classification, as I discussed, can be a real value or the discrete value. With the two class binary classification, if they have a more than two classes, is called as a multi-class. And with the example multiple classes, we have a multiple label classification problem. I will explain you. First, let's look at the different application. Email spam detection. Whenever you know that whenever we just check out our Gmail, it can be goes either into the your spam or in the inbox. They know that if it's contains some spam, the email automatically go in the spam folder. Speech recognition, that the speech is belonging to the animal or the human. Cancer tumor cell detection, drug classification, biometric identification. In these cases, we have a lot of the data with us. We have classified the various things. We have the making the classes for that. And accordingly, we on the basis of that, we are able to identify and predict the accuracy in these cases. So I talk about the multi-class. Binary one is very easy, belong to the cat or not. One, two, 0 or 1. But in multi-class and multi-label, we can only one output class at the time. And in multi-label, we have a multiple labels classes we have a time. What is that? Let's look with the example. So in this one, we have a binary class. In binary classification, as we are able to see that we have two classes, either it is spam or not spam. That's all. We are not doing as much. In multi-class classification, what we are doing, we are given classified in a various classes. It can be a dog, it can be a cat, it can be horse, fish, and bird. But looking by the image, we resemble that there is a dog that goes into the particular class as a dog. Then we design the multiple classes, but the answer is only the one. And in multi-label classification, we designed the multiple classes, dog, cat, horse, fish, and bird. And we are able to identify the 2 or 3 classes at the time because it's a cat as well or it is a bird as well. So it is a multi-label classification. This is a difference. Next is regression. This is also one of the approach in the supervised learning. With the example, we will continue that prediction. Some of the regression example is my data regression is basically if I'm giving input Y, then how my output X will be changed according to my input. Let's rain, we can predict the rain based on the different temperatures, weather, we can predict the rain. Okay, market trends, prediction of the road accident due to rash driving. Regression estimates the relationship between the target and independent variables. We have if I'm talking about the variables, we have a different features with different variables. We have that according if my variable is changing, then definitely my output will be affected. So we have to identify the most important factor and the least important factor that should impact my particular application. How one factor, one parameter, one attribute is related with another one. This all things we can do with the help of the regression. So now we are talking about the unsupervised learning. In unsupervised learning, there we don't have any prior data. We don't have testing and training phase. Whatever the inputs are coming based on the behavior, based on their activities, we make them cluster, and according to them, we identify the different patterns in them. So unsupervised learning can be done with the help of clustering or association. Cluster, where you want to determine, inherit the groups in the data, such as grouping customer by purchasing behavior. So we don't have something with us in prior. We just assuming the behavior. We getting the absorb the things with the new, like the now the customer purchasing behavior. If we identify according to them, we analyze the trend. According to them, we analyze the pattern. Whereas in association rule, we are able to identify that if I'm buying something X, how the Y or Z can be related with us, how they are confidently I can say that, or what kind of support I can get that if the X item it should be buy, then definitely the Y and Z will be affected or impacted by the purchase of the X. So we have to find that running rule. We have to discover this sort of confidence using association. So in supervised, unsupervised learning model is a method which we draw the So in unsupervised learning method is which we draw the reference from the data set that consists the input data without label response. So I'm not able to now classify my data. It should be a spam, not spam. It's not as a classes that I put the data as output A, B, C. No, it's not like that. In clustering, the task is dividing the population or the data points into the number of groups such that the points in the same groups are the more similar or the other points are same group and dissimilar to the data points at other groups. So basically, it's I collected some of the similarities in that, I make a cluster of them. If the person is purchasing X things, I put them as a one cluster X. If the other group is purchasing Y thing, then I will mark it as a Y and they are the Y group. So they have a similar things in the Y group. They are the similar things in X group, and X1 is a dissimilar from the Y1. That makes a different cluster based on the different cluster based on the similarity and dissimilarity between them. So application on the unsupervised learning are marketing, discovered the patterns and the behavior of the customer segment for the marketing purpose. Different biology for the you classify among the spices and the plants and animals. Libraries to identify the different books on the basis of the topics and information. Insurance, acknowledge the customer, their policies, identifying the frauds intent. City planning based on the making the group of houses, their value, their geographical sustainability should be there. Green concept should be there. We can do the earthquake studies, that the earthquake affected areas we can identify by the danger zones. So now the how the association will work. Association rule learning is a type, unsupervised type of learning that shows the dependencies between two or more products. For example, if I'm buying the bread, definitely I will need either the jam, butter. So my bread is directly proportional that I will purchase in future either the jam or a butter or peanut butter, something with my bread. If I'm purchasing my laptop or computer or desktop, then I will go to the purchase the keyboard. I will go to the purchase mouse. I can purchase the laptop covers. According to them, the association should be there. If X thing is there, then possibility of Y and Z, how much they are confidence, how much the support I'm getting. If I'm purchasing some X thing, how much support and how much confidence I'm getting to purchase the Y and Z. So in this is the most important concept in the machine learning and a soft computing, and the market basket analysis, web usage mining, continuous production. These are the example of the algorithms we are used to identify the association rules for the data set. So this is all about the basic terminologies about the data, types of data, what is supervised learning, what is unsupervised learning, different algorithms. And this is taken from the references from taking as a book from the principle of computing, whereas the NPTEL Introduction to Soft Computing from NTPL courses. Disclaimer. Thank you, everyone.